the
7 p.m. Might as well start the clock ticking. Hey, Scott, we're live.
Excellent.
We were just laughing about whether or not we'd click on something that said Fetterman Nude. And I don't know.
I never click on anything that says anybody nude because it's never
Nude.
somebody you want to see. First off, there's nobody I want to see nude
Yeah.
besides my wife, and she. And I don't get that in a web page. So
Yeah. It's it's
it's a dangerous world out there.
yeah, it is a dangerous
Clickbait.
world. People tell you all the time,
Clickbait.
don't click on that.
Oh gosh, that
I've
work.
resisted a lot of stuff where it was just the rage that you had to be in the know and see some of this gross stuff. But someone just had to give me a scenario of what I was supposedly going to be watching, and I didn't watch
Well,
it.
I mean, I've dabbled in Twitter probably more than I should lately, and it's just like God, it's just like wasting my time. There's nothing on. There's no content on here.
No,
It's just
you'll find your whole perspective changes if you just leave it to one little window of the day that you do something like that. That one little window becomes too long. It's
oh
like,
yeah.
okay, I've given myself about 10% of the time I used to devote to it, and I'm done already. I don't want to play with this or play at it anymore.
This is crazy how many options I have here. Is that different? That's a better option, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of cool that you have discovered some setting. Is it some sort of app, or is it just something your
No,
camera could
it's
always
in
do?
StreamYard. I didn't realize it had front camera, back camera, ultra wide camera. That's dual wide. What's this
Oh,
desk
I better
view?
not click it. I might end up.
Yeah. So
Let's see what.
this
Where are
is the
you
back
finding this?
under
Settings,
this, yeah, under settings.
virtual background, recording hotkeys, layouts, camera, standard definition. Hmm.
Anyway, I finished a page up last night. So
Oh, okay. Those all look good, just laying around there.
oh, so I finished page 4 last night. I've been doing grayscale. Remember last week I was doing grayscale. So I did this three, two, three, four. Um, I I finished 4. I haven't scanned. I've scanned 1, and that's it because I had to do some Photoshop stuff to it. But I'm oh, I forgot to draw that girl's glasses. Dang it! Never mind. I'm not
Yeah.
done with 4. I'm not. I was looking. I was looking at my thumbnails. I was looking at my thumbnails, and I realized. So here's 4. But in 5, it's like, oh, she's wearing glasses, and that's important because later she takes them off because she's
hmm
flirting with the guy. The guy's a millionaire, bajillionaire, and so she's like, oh, hey now, you know.
Uh-huh.
And guys don't make passes at girls that wear glasses, or so she
Uh-huh.
believes. And so she took her glasses off.
Yeah, my favorite girl taking her glasses off and becoming super ultra sexy. She was really sexy before when she was with her glasses on. Is
Wonder
the
Woman?
Bogart uh,
Oh,
movie? Oh, and it's her premiere. It's her debut. I believe it's Dorothy Malone. And man, she was a
here we go. Glasses.
pretty sexy little girl. What's that
Anyway,
called? The Big Heat or something like that.
the big easy. It's the big easy. Maybe not.
Bogart.
Anyway, so how you feeling? You've been sick.
Yeah, uh, I got sick immediately after we finished last week. Just immediately, real quick, like, and spent all of Friday sleeping. And yeah, it's the big sleep. Dorothy Malone.
Oh, it
And
is the big sleep. I was being a jerk.
yeah, it's the big sleep. And I misdiagnosed it. I've decided because I thought it was just the stomach flu. You hear that all the time. I had a stomach flu, and the symptoms seemed right, but that's a virus. And then I discovered later when I got kind of sick, eating the chicken I had laying around later, that I no doubt had salmonella, which is almost, it's got the exact same things that happen to you.
There's
So
been a
that's
stomach
what
bug going around my office.
Yeah, well, that's what I did to myself.
Yeah, you guys stay the heck away from me. I do not want a stomach bug. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, I guess the only way you get those, though, usually, I don't think they're.
Are they not contagious?
I don't think they travel through the air. I think you get them somehow or other. Don't let that guy make the coffee or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you can get them a number of ways.
Who knows? Anyway.
Man, when you're sick though, you think I was coming up with all sorts of things that could have made me sick. Threw away about $20 worth of food, and then finally realized like a dummy, it's the chicken, Goodson. When it finally made me sick all over again.
So $20 worth of food. You threw away a box of cereal, eh?
Yeah, that's
inflation joke.
Yeah, it is inflation.
If you get ill or you need help, you can reach out to me. I know that's an anathema. Is that the right word to your sensibilities to ask anyone for help? But I'm more than willing to help you if you get in a bind, dude.
There's not much to help other than make some soup for me.
No, I'm not doing that. No.
Okay. There's not much to do for a sick guy.
Well, I didn't. If you need, if you're like, I'm at home and I would help you.
Well, you'll be somebody I probably will call if I'm barely able to drag myself to communication. I'll say, hey, Scott, I'm lying halfway here between the bed and my bathroom, and I think this is it. Yeah.
I'd say, who's this?
Yeah, who's this?
No, me. I would. That's baked into my DNA to be a. I got. At work, you can get points if you do, like, if you help out another employee. And I got some points. Somebody gave me points the other day because, and I like this because my boss has to approve them. But they gave me points because we were doing presentations. And they were in front of me. I was doing one, but we don't do them. It's like years of service to our employees. So I had an employee that had been there for 20 years, and she had one that had been there for like 5 years. So she was before me, and she didn't have to do anything, but she didn't know. She was like, "I'm so nervous. I haven't done one of these." I said, "Have you never done a presentation?" Because I've done tons of them, and we used to have to write a speech and all this stuff. But I mean, me, I just ate it up. I just, once I did one or two and got over being nervous, it wasn't that big a deal.
It was supposedly the greatest fear of a lot of people. That goes to that thing I told you about the Top Gun thing of what would you rather do? Throw up on a crowded bus all over people?
Oh yeah.
Or break a little finger in that same bus door? And if you're Top Gun material, you don't pick breaking your finger. You pick throwing up over all those helpless people, being embarrassed by throwing up over all those people rather than one little dinky injury to you.
That makes sense. Anyway, so I told her. So I went up there and I was like, so I think the first thing I said was, she goes, "Oh, I got to do this. I'm nervous." I said, "Well, you got your speech ready, right?" And she's like, "What?" And I said, "No, it's no big deal. I just told her it was." So she sent me points. It's like, "Hey, thanks for helping me with, I was so nervous and you calmed my nerve." And I was like, "Okay, whatever."
I always like that kind of stuff. That's a good setup for a gag that backfires. You're insisting on somebody to give a speech that's never given one. They're shy and all that, and then they get up and they
just nail it.
Just never stop. And it's like, please, this should have been over 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, no, they yeah.
And it also reminds me of that time.
Yeah.
You've all been there.
Oh, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that reminds me of a story I heard.
Yeah.
So,
and of course, the old joke would have it.
Yeah. So you don't know Richard Jenkins, do you?
Richard Jenkins. That name sounds real familiar.
He's an artist. He draws comic books. He did a comic for was it Oni Press? Well, originally it was Slave Labor Graphics. Called.
Hey, Dan checked in. I've been looking down drawing. Says, "Hi, for your information, tonight's video title made me weary about tuning in tonight. You do not need that image." Yeah, I might make a comment about that eventually. The whole dress code for Fetterman, but they canceled it. But go ahead. What were you talking?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. They supposedly said no. Somebody else got up and says, "We aren't doing that."
Well, I don't have a problem with them. I mean, let's face it, the dress code is kind of. But I mean, come on. No. It's not like he was just coming in and not wearing a tie.
I know.
I'm wearing
what a
gym
schlub.
shorts.
The idea, and that should be accepted as a damn challenge to somebody out there that says, make this guy look like he's rail thin Hugh Hefner when he gets his suit on, and
no doubt.
Some tailor get a hold of that guy and say, "Come with me. We're not leaving until I've got you
properly suited,
beautiful."
Bespoken.
Yes.
Well, yeah, you're right. Somebody, you would think,
and give you a closet full of them. Hell, they're all corrupt or whatever. Just mention each time. My tailor is.
God, I only wear Armani.
Yes.
Well, and again, I mean, Michelle ran into this when she worked at UPS. She was in the plant engineering department at UPS, and they had a dress code, and it was like, you got to wear a suit. Well, Michelle was like, what am I? I mean, it had no provision for women,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they have to have a dress code, but I mean, come on, Baggy. He should just, if nothing else, it just shows a lack of, self-awareness, that he wasn't embarrassed by that. I mean, I'd be embarrassed.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed if I go to work and we have a meeting and I'm wearing shorts, and I'm allowed to wear shorts.
I mean, he hasn't made any big case for some sort of clinical discomfort he experiences in anything but his sloughy clothes. I mean, he's just seems to prefer it. It's like, okay, you prefer it.
If he came in, I mean, he could wear, khakis and a shirt and a blazer, and or slacks. I mean, does it have to be gym shorts? You know? I mean, it's like, after this, I'm gonna go catch a pickup game, or something. Yeah. It's like, what are you doing? You would think that, I don't know. You would think that the leadership on the Democrats would be like, dude, come on, man.
Well, that's the deal. As it floats farther and farther away of them ever needing to do anything to win one,
No,
They get, they
that's
get
what it
kind
is?
they,
They're
they
getting
get,
cocky.
they get kind of smug about it. Why not?
Well, that's yeah. I mean, maybe. I mean, do you? Yeah, but I don't. Not, nothing is permanent. I mean, just because I mean, they've already lost one. You know, uh, one seat of power that they had. By losing the Senate House.
Hmm.
So it seems like they'd go, maybe.
Well, I mean, and Fetterman being there is just how hard they fight them. There's no way Fetterman should have pulled it out of the fire and be
No,
there even. But
no.
they did all the usual tricks to make sure they had that vote, that number.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about it to know if it was shady, but I mean, I think Oz was kind of a bad choice.
Oh yeah, oh he's a
Because hadn't
very
he
very
not, didn't he not live there very long? Didn't he kind of
yeah.
move
Oh,
down?
he was just an awful
Yeah,
candidate.
and I mean, that worked for Hillary, but she was
Hmm.
the wife of the president. I mean, she had a little bit of different, you
Yeah,
know.
this thing Dan is saying his parents supported him until he got this gig. That's right.
Oh, yeah,
The
yep.
man's never had a job.
Yeah, that should be right there. That should
I
disqualify you
mean,
from
that should disqualify you from a voter being stupid enough
period.
to give you an X. And it's like,
Oh, I thought you were gonna say that should disqualify you from being a voter, which I'm
yeah,
okay with, by the way.
yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I would I would be okay with it too.
I mean, that's the original, it was property owners, got the vote, which I don't.
Yeah.
That's a little. I do think sometimes they'll decide in the city elections, they'll decide stuff on property taxes, and it's like, hey, maybe only property owners should be allowed to vote on that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Oh yeah, it would. Yeah, when
I
you're
mean, if it
able,
doesn't
when you,
affect you,
it's
maybe
the
you
old
don't get to vote on it.
Peter to pay Paul. You're going to get an
Yeah,
awful lot of these people that have got no
sure.
skin in the game saying, yeah,
Raise property
let's
taxes. I don't care in my apartment.
keep it coming.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a little elitist, but whatever.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
No, no,
Okay.
no. This stuff of having it's like all the nomenclature has been subverted. They understand that words are supposed to have power, and so
Yes.
they just take over being our Merriam-Webster for us. It's like,
Oh gosh,
no,
yeah.
that's not what that word means.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me started. I yell at the news every morning because they misuse words all the time,
Yeah,
and they mispronounce them. And I'll tell my wife, I go, I think what they mean is this. You know, it's like, God, who's proofreading this stuff? You know.
yeah. Dan says he has a good reason for not supporting early voting. That debate he finally agreed to should have ended his campaign. Yeah, he was. It was just nonsense that you would want the guy you were
Oh
seeing on
yeah.
stage, but there's a lot of people just
Yeah, they don't care.
flipping their phone open. He was their guy. That's
Yep.
the end
Oh,
of the
yeah.
story.
Well, yeah. Well, it wasn't. Did you see? Wasn't it Philadelphia like last night? They had the big riots. Or was it the night
Uh-huh.
before?
Yeah.
It's like, that's why I'm going to quit Twitter. I don't need to be seeing that crap. I don't
Yeah,
care. It's
it
there.
revs you up too much. It gives you a
Yep.
fight or flight reflex seeing it. It's like, grrr.
Yeah. It's like, screw those guys.
But I mean, that sort of stuff. Uh, it works both ways. I'll see overreactions from cops, and
Yeah.
for some reason the algorithm has decided to feed me an awful lot of cop shootings
Oh gosh.
where they're I've got dozens of options all of a sudden watching the cops shoot people. But the deal is, it's like maybe the best way to handle that rioting is just have a huge number of cops with 12 gauges with those stun loads in them, and just blasting away, just totally driving them into a corner like.
Never happen.
No, I
again
never
in
will.
our
But I tell
lifetime.
you what, the little bit of the amount of bruising versus the damage being done to other people's property, I'll go with the bruises. You know.
Well, and what's crazy is, people go, well, people are rioting, but it's only property, and they say, yeah, Dan's right. I think it was either Ray Bradbury or Harlan Ellison I saw on TV one time, and they said, if you want to be happy, don't watch the news. It's full of stuff you don't want to hear happening to people you don't know.
Yep.
And I was shocked. So, our pastor one time at a board meeting told us that he watched, I think, 3 different newscasts every night. It's like one that was middle of the road, and one that was left wing, and one that was right wing. And I was like, God, who has that much time?
Yeah, that would kind of pollute your brain.
Yeah, well, he felt it made him more, whatever.
Yeah, in touch.
And I don't, honestly, hey, you can call me whatever. I don't care that much.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
there you are.
I can.
I froze for a second. I don't know why.
I'm gonna have to that thing I was telling you about that camera that shoots like almost a 360 view, and you pick out one little detail from that 360 view. I'll have to send you a link to that. Sure made me want. I was wondering why that's not more popular. It seems like the way to go on GoPro type of stuff. It's like, why not cover the stuff that's just practically behind you as well as in front of you?
Yeah, they can do some weird stuff with cameras and AI now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It's the program allows you to take that 360 view and just extrapolate it out into what you're used to orthographic wise with your regular camera. Hey, I was going to share. I brought these stupid paintings out and I got them all over my bed. I'll show everybody the tragedy of my oil painting career of late.
Oh, no.
It's
you've been sick.
Yeah, I've been sick, but my paintings have been getting sick for a long time. Now, this one, surprisingly, is about as good as it ever was. It's paper glued onto board, and it started as gouache, which I put a layer of fix between it and painted with oil on top of it, and it don't look bad. And I also did the final sin on it of putting linseed oil on top of it to do what is called oiling out. That supposedly brings the sheen up to an even level. And but the disadvantage is, if done incorrectly, which of course is the way I did it, and probably with the totally wrong product, the oil yellows in a very ugly way. And this happened to this shadow thing here. It's getting.
Oh, that's a bummer. I like that.
It's getting some nasty yellow. Of course, it's mostly yellow anyway, so maybe we can call that a survivor. But it's a bit of ugliness it didn't need. This is the most ugly one. That has got nothing to do with the color that used to be. This is totally yellow, and this one has probably got the most of the linseed oil on it, and it just like did all kinds of freaky things in terms of like looking like pond scum on top of it. So that was that. This one seems to have survived whatever I may have done to it. Maybe I didn't oil this one out, but its colors are still vibrant. But I think there may have been an oil out decision on it. We'll see. Got to monitor that one. This one is the biggest disappointment. This one used to really pop, and now it's got my eyeball monster and him. They've all become the same kind of awful yellowish thing. And this one was always doomed from the way I did it at the beginning. I did it as gouache. Tried to get a seal between it and the oil, and my God, it's got all sorts of stuff showing up through it. Huh? Wow, this is new. I need to get the old. It's like, it may lead me to another dimension for all I know by the time that one's done. So anyway, that's my art journey on that. All those hours spent, and I've got now just crap-a-doodle for paintings on those all that effort.
It sucks.
Yeah. See what Dan has been saying lately. I heard one dummy did get arrested after he live streamed his threats. Cool, Ellis. Oh yeah, you're talking about my
thefts.
Just disfigured paintings. Yep.
Thefts. Live streamed his thefts. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, but I don't know.
Yeah, that impulse to say, "Hey, gang," they're not your gang. Everybody hates you almost the moment they see you. It's like you can't get a big following like that. Hey, you been watching Adam the Woo?
Me? Yes.
He's in Hawaii.
I saw a blurb for that. That's one place I've never wanted to go.
I wouldn't mind it. Popping in on Paradise real quick.
The flight would be terrible.
Yeah, the flight would be rough.
I mean, I like the beach. Don't get me wrong, but I like,
Yeah, you like other things better.
Well, no, I like the beach, but I like beaches on the mainland.
Yeah. Well, I take it Scott Adams had a quick little segment where he talked about the fact he had considered Hawaii as a place to live. He had the money to do it after all, and he went over there to finish a book, in fact, not too long ago, and probably wonder a little bit about Hawaii again in terms of a place to be. But he said that Maui fire convinced him it's not the place to be. You're all of a sudden the isolation.
Yeah,
something like that occurs. It's like, there just wasn't any resources coming those folks' way because they had that natural, wonderful barrier that we usually kind of dig having between us and all those people, all that ocean. Everybody that could have helped you was an ocean away, even if they were miles, comparatively speaking. They were an ocean away in terms of like being able to walk over and help you.
Yep.
What did I see? Last night. Oh man, I can't believe how much I like this movie. Rewatching it, it's. I thought I'd done a rewatch of it fairly recently, but when I rewatched it last night, I realized I didn't rewatch it. I may have got this from the library, but I decided against watching it because it was just like I'd never seen it before. McCabe and Mrs. Miller. Man, that is a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It reveals in a trivia I've seen on YouTube and also on the extras on the disc that Altman says that Stanley Kubrick loved to call people on the phone and basically just talk their ear off.
Really? That's funny. He seems like he'd be the opposite.
It seems like he'd be the opposite. Like you'd have to get Stanley to open up and join the party, but no, he's the guy that wants to chew the fat. apparently.
That's funny because, like I said, he doesn't. I mean, and again, I don't know a lot about him. I'm not one of these big Kubrick fans like some people we know, but I mean, he just doesn't. When you think about somebody, he seems as eccentric and he seems
Yeah,
aloof.
yeah. For a guy that started as a New Yorker saying, let's move to England and never make a film anywhere else except within a 5 mile radius of where I live. You
Yeah,
know,
I won't fly anywhere. Wasn't
yeah,
he?
yeah.
What didn't he not? Didn't he refuse to fly?
Yeah, I don't think he ever got around to doing much of anything he didn't feel like doing, which is,
Well,
so
yeah.
weird.
That's the thing is. So you go, well, why would he talk to people? Why would he call people?
Yeah, yeah,
Apparently, he wanted to. I mean, I don't call people out just randomly.
yeah,
Or not
yeah.
randomly, but you know what I'm saying.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
don't go.
he
Yay.
mainly wanted to chew Altman's ear and wanted to know about a certain shot that was done in the film, which is a very cool shot. He's it would be his eye, his artist's eye, that would pick on this one shot that would, uh, you know. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen McCabe and Mrs. Miller?
I don't think I have.
It didn't do well at the box office, but I couldn't get over how I love anymore the idea that you are smart enough to act like I'm smart enough to not have to just be on the nose about things. And this thing is all just subtext. It happens in the dialogue and the character's action. And the deal is that movies like this, when this came out, about this early 70s, it's like nobody's seen anything like it, so it didn't do well. But by now, you get stuff like Deadwood that's come out and other anti-westerns. That's exactly what it was called at the time, an anti-western. And it's like, well, yeah. Let me show you the pioneer that took all the arrows right here, McCabe and Mrs. Miller.
Yeah,
It,
yeah.
it, it makes me want to read the original source material because that's what apparently attracted Altman. He at some point or other somebody's handed it to him, had him read it. So I want to read the book, but as usual, it's going to be some sort of $300 paperback.
Oh yeah.
Nobody's got it anywhere, and all that sort. Maybe that makes me think. Maybe I'll look up what is Google's what do they call it, project.
Gutenberg.
Gutenberg, yeah, the press maker. Yeah, I got to check on that.
I would be surprised. I mean, it's not old, right? I mean, usually that
Well,
stuff is in
it
public
dates to
domain.
probably the 60s. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not old for a book though.
Hmm.
But you can look. I mean,
Yeah. I could do it now.
you could.
I also, I forget where I ran across. Oh, I was watching Neil Hamburger. Now, this is a guy that may take some getting used to for most people. I, for whatever reason, have now decided he's hilarious. And he's got a style where he asks a question. And, the audience says, it's like, how high is it? It's just how, he asks a question from stage. How high is so and so? And but then the joke is just the answer. So simple as a joke presentation. It's like he asks the question, you holler at him for a response, and he gives it to you.
And where do you see this Neil Hamburger?
Neil Hamburger. Oh, this was from ages ago. He was on the old Tom Green show. Tom Green was one of those guys that was always pushing the envelope too early. He's like McCabe and Mrs. Miller. He arrived on the scene, bombs, and then moves on. And then right behind him, everybody else is doing it. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Tom Green. I've been told when my hair was dark and I had a beard, I was always told several people told me I look like Tom Green.
Huh. That's interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I'm trying to see it. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah.
Well, your faces are close enough in geometry. There was this actor that I clicked on his link, wondered what else he might be in from McCabe, and they described his face as oval. His name's John Shuck, and
Yeah.
I don't know who described his face as oval, but they've got a problem with geometry. That's all I can say. He's got a big old long face, and it's like, and it and it's a gift really. This big long.
I saw. Okay, so I saw, and I couldn't find a picture of it. I saw a clip of David Lee Roth on the Joe Rogan show.
Huh.
And I thought, my God, he looks like Ellis. He has very short cropped hair.
Yeah, he's got his hair down.
Face. Yeah. And I was like, holy crap, he looks like Ellis, man.
Well, I used to get quite a bit of, and of course, I admit it and feel stupid for doing it, but I tried to encourage the resemblance. Just the moment I became aware of the guy was Sting. When I was long haired,
oh yeah,
I could pull off kind of looking like I thought I was Sting, and I would get that every now and then. Hey, you look like Sting. But of course now what I do is I look at current pictures of well nurtured, well cared for Sting compared to me, and I go, huh. What happens when you got a little money to take care of yourself? Versus,
well,
yeah,
he can go in and get the dermabrasion every few months or whatever,
exactly.
or whatever the treatments are.
Scrape down to the. Let's start again.
Yeah. It's funny. One thing I've been trying to do lately. The thing they always tell you not to do is get a little sun,
Oh, yeah. That vitamin D coming in through the pores is supposedly really good for y'all.
Yeah.
I go through that stuff and I end up, by the end of summer, got a little bit of color.
Yeah, I wear shorts at work a lot because I can, and I've been buying ankle length socks, and I've worn for a couple of years, and I realized from about right above the ankle down, if I'm pale as could be. So I bought some shorter socks. Okay, we're gonna combat that with short socks.
My brother laughed out loud when he saw my white feet from where my socks started, because otherwise, I was burned brown. I was burned brown, and then all of a sudden you take your socks off and you're white.
Yeah.
Your coloration, you probably don't get just super white, do you?
No, I stay pretty dark year round.
Yeah, I can be very white.
Oh yeah, I don't get that. That ain't me. So are you out exercising again, or?
Well, yeah. I had one day where I said, I gotta do something to try to move the needle here, and got out, forced myself to go around, and it was hellish, but I did feel better at the end of it, and glad I did it, etc.
Gotcha.
That kind of stuff, it's one of those things. It's like, should you be tough with yourself, or should you take it slow every inch of it? Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows?
Oh, I've got this old book here. I wonder how old this is. I'll look it up. I've got on a pair of reading glasses right now. I think I might just throw them away. I think I just found them somewhere. And the
Oh wow!
magnification
Sorry, I'm looking at
is,
the book you got, not
yeah,
the.
Bridgman's Book of 100 Hands by some publisher. Let's see what year
What
this is.
it should be. Well, it's sterling, so it's British.
Oh, it is, huh?
Did you spiral bind it, or was it?
Yes,
Did you
I
Oh,
I should be stopped. I cut the spines off stuff and spiral bound it. Yeah, it looks like this would have came out in '62.
how do you? How are
History.
you spiral binding them? Are you doing it yourself?
Take them to Kinko's.
Oh, okay.
Say, cut the spine off of it for me. Say what? And
Yeah.
you repeat yourself, and you and spiral bound it.
Because
Bind it.
does the cover look like this?
Pretty
No.
much.
Well, yeah.
Well, this little part does anyway. They
Yeah,
picked the
yeah,
same.
yeah.
They picked the same hands to
Yeah.
focus
This
on.
is. I've had this forever.
Yeah, these pages are ready to.
Mine's been thumbed so much it's bent. I don't know. I did not purchase this. I think someone gave it to me. In fact, you know what? I know where I got this. They had it at work, and they were using it back in the day to trace when they needed hands. And when we went digital, they threw away a bunch of stuff. It's like, hey, you want this? It's like, heck yeah.
Yeah, this kind of stuff later on as you're doing hands, it's like, yeah, these tendons all kind of like they bunch and kind of go as almost a ray. They do kind of get tight. They don't go straight back from your fingers. They decide at this point past those knuckles that they, and the bone, of course, does the exact same thing. It starts
Yeah, it kind of fans out.
fans.
The thing that I saw a demonstration John Byrne did one time. And he did, I don't know if you can see this. He had he had a diagram that's like this, which is like this kind of goes up into here, and like your pinky is off here and your thumb is off here. That was kind of how he drew hands.
Okay,
Kind of makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, you can think of it like that. There are several, and I see Frazetta all the time, and when I look at hands like this, he really dug into his Bridgman and didn't take his nose out until he felt like he had it all.
Yeah.
And you see it,
Yep.
all this little witch hands and stuff like that. It's just that sort of acting that can be done with hands. Frazetta could certainly do it with his. Speaking of Byrne, I saw Byrne because I looked at the art closely and went from the index number that was on the art to the legend and found it was a Byrne piece of artwork, but I thought there was a chance it was Ditko because it was a big sheet of Hulks. It was probably about 20 of them of different artists that had done the Hulk, and they didn't include Ditko. And Ditko is the guy that he may not have kicked it off, but I think he did. I think he was the Metal Master. That story was the first Hulk, I think. I'll have to check myself on that.
Hang on. You're going to make me pull out.
Okay.
God, where's my Origins of Marvel Comics? Crap.
But, so the vote was, who's your favorite Hulk?
Oh, really?
I said, not pictured. Ditko.
Not pictured. Ditko. I don't see. I'm looking for.
Yeah, Ditko is the guy I most associate with taking a little hop, landing, and saying, "And away we go!" Whatever, a big hop, and he heads off over the horizon with his hop. And that was the first The first time I remember. He inked issue 2 over Kirby. Is that the reason I think I've seen Ditko? That he just was that kind of inker? Maybe so. Maybe so. And of course,
Maybe
that was
so.
and he did issue 6. Well, okay, so he was inking Mr. Kirby. So I was looking at Kirby. And that seems right now all of a sudden, you know.
All is right with the world.
Yes, now that I understand that Ditko has not been sullied by being omitted.
Oh, here we go.
And I remember his hair flying back as he goes for the little hop. He went to a lot of trouble to show you the action of sending
That's Sal
Hulk into
Buscema.
space.
That's Sal Buscema.
And I think he was the artist on the Tales to Astonish Hulk feature.
You made me bust this out.
There we go. Look at that. You got some Hulk history right there.
Jack Kirby right there.
Yep.
That's issue 1. Let's see what the...
And then get to the Metal Master.
Well, no. This only has... So this is the
Skips.
origins.
Mhm.
This is the origins. It tells you the first issue and then a current issue from when it was written. So this is... Yeah, this is... I don't know if this is...
Oh,
Rita
okay.
or
So
Shima.
that's
Oh,
his
Trimpy.
thing.
Trimpy. Yeah.
That's its theme, huh? These are origins.
Yeah, have you never seen this?
Origin of... Yeah, cool. Oh, wow. Stan Lee putting out a little extra cash grabs.
Yeah, I've had this since I was a little kid. 74.
Wow.
It's got, and that's Origins, and then there's Son of Origins, which I don't have any of the other ones. There was Bring on the Bad Guys, which was like villains. It's Son of Origins, which has, I think it's got
Son
the
of
Avengers.
Origins. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, what I liked about it is his Stan Lee's stories, about creating it. Even though everybody now is like, "Oh, Stan Lee, he's a hack or whatever."
No, I mean, he's
And it always drove me crazy.
extremely important to the whole thing happening for him. He was the guy, not necessarily cracking the whip, but he was the team master.
Yeah. Oh, Avengers. Dude, this is the era of Kirby I love.
Yeah.
This isn't the best
yeah.
reproduction, but this is what I love.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Kind of a fat ink.
Yeah.
Even though if you look at Kirby, that's not his best stuff wasn't his superhero stuff during this era. I think it was his westerns. It seemed like he put more into the westerns. But I don't have a son of a gun, of Marvel Comics or whatever.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a big anthology of Kirby drawing horses and all that stuff he did, as well as anybody. Those cowboy things he did were great.
Yeah.
How you do it?
Yep. I agree.
I'm doing a Hulk right now, using my memory of the Hulk.
Oh,
The initial
man,
takeoff pose.
I have a lot of trouble drawing Hulk.
Yeah, I do too.
Because he
just continue to wander as you draw the Hulk. It's like you can't make yourself settle down into making him into the. You want to elongate something. You can't help yourself.
Yeah, and I think you have to draw his upper lip long.
Hmm.
I mean, the space between his lip and his nose, whatever that is. I think you have to draw it long if you're going to draw the Hulk correctly.
Mm-hmm. Got to have a beetle brow, so you get that shelf has to be sold of the face. Can't draw eyes if they can't be seen under his beetle brow. thumbnails when we. So
Yeah.
you're working straight up from your own thumbnails now, where you're at
Yes.
on the
Yes.
Black
There's
Cricket.
thumbnails. Yes. I have 7, or I'm sorry, 8 more pages. This is page 5, and it's 12. And then I don't know, I've been going in. Obviously, last week I grayscaled some pages,
Uh-huh.
and I did the first chapter. Have I done the whole thing? I don't think I've done the whole first chapter, but I've done what they've sent me. I don't know. Anyway, and I had kind of a weird moment, and I'd emailed Dan, but I had kind of a weird moment because I was like, I worked on grayscale in the Black Cricket, and then I kind of last weekend we just kind of I spent some time reading, and I was just kind of wore out, and so then it was like I emailed Dan and I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be working on. And he was like, oh, he said, well, I was like, I didn't do a lot this weekend, and I don't know, it's been weird at my house. I mean, not abnormally weird, but just, with Michelle having surgery and stuff, and
needing special consideration.
a little bit, not a lot, but.
I stopped myself discussing what Hamburger shared with the audience on Tom Green. He shared a movie I'd never heard of called Midnight Madness. Have you ever seen that? It's it's Michael J. Fox's premiere.
I was going to say, I've
debut.
heard of it somehow. Yeah. So what'd he say about it?
Well, it was just one of these things where he's talking with people on what he called his poolside chats. And in this case, it was Tim Heidecker and the other guy, Eric, whatever his name is. And so I looked it up and I found it on archive.org. Couldn't find it anywhere else. Or I mean, you can rent it if you want to rent it on Prime. But I found a copy, and I'll watch it sometime. But it's interesting because it gets a kind of a cult status, and the guy that a kid that saw this when he was a kid went on and took the premise and the action of it all, and eventually wrote the really well thought of movie The Game with Michael Douglas, which I've seen that movie, and that was enough. I saw it. It's like I guess it frustrated me in some way that when stories give me a frustration kind of thing going on too much, it's like, yeah, you don't make sense.
Sorry, I wandered downstairs.
That's all right. And I think he was the artist on the Tales to Astonish Hulk feature. I think Jeff is skipping around on the pages. Well,
Oh, okay.
Your
That's fine.
inkers, yeah.
Hey, I'm not.
Carte blanche.
And that makes sense because when I was inking my own comic, I skipped around because I felt like I didn't want to. I wanted to get. I don't know. I didn't want to get. Well, I don't want to. I was going to say I didn't want to get better at the end of the book, or worse, or whatever.
You wanted to be consistent.
Right. I felt like it would keep my inks more consistent. So, one thing I did do, I told you that I'm in the process of purchasing the run of all the Shadow pulps.
Yes.
Which I've heard from that guy, by the way. I sent him my list. And then someone reached out to me that has a Shadow fanzine, and we were chatting. They were trying to get me to buy them, but through our chat somehow it's like, oh, they publish illustrations people submit, and so I was talking to the guy about it, and he said, okay, and I don't know if I may have sent you this, Ellis, but the guy said, just don't send me any pictures of the shadow shooting his 45. That's all people ever send me.
Uh-huh.
And so I was
That's
reading
all I
one of
do.
that I was reading the shadow, and in one of them he goes into a bowling alley, and I thought, well, that's interesting. He didn't, and so I thought, well, what if he was behind the back where all the machinery was on the pin setting
Yeah.
machines? And so I did this doodle. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Now the pin setting machines don't look like this. I did some research and they do not look like this, but I kind of liked it. I thought, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, they're dangerous looking.
Yes, that's what I wanted. They're not quite that. So here was my original doodle that I did,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and I kind of refined it a little bit in my second one. Anyway, I don't know if I'm going to do an illustration or not, but
It's
it
a
was
lot
fun
of
to-
work to put
It
into
is a lot
something to make somebody a president or something.
yeah, it's like, well, here, take my art, well, I don't know. I may do it, but I'm back on the Black Cricket right now, so
Mm-hmm.
I figure I got plenty of time to do that if it comes down to it. One day. Anyway, I'm hoping
Yeah,
that
he'll
guy
be there
comes-
supposedly. How old is this guy that is the maestro of putting all this stuff together? How old is
Oh,
he?
he's not a young man. He put
Okay.
the shadow. Yeah, that's why I was like. So when I went to OFCon, I had sent him my list, and he told me, well, he didn't have a chance to get it all put together, but he said, but if I send him my list, he knocked $3 off each one. He'll send me everything, and he'll pay for shipping, which I mean, I've got 92 of them that I need. So, and an average price of $15 a book. So I mean, it's like, I'm in for some money, but here's the thing: it's like when he dies, it's like if something, God forbid, if something happens to the guy, I don't know if those books will ever be in print. I mean, the price will skyrocket on them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. It probably is almost to the level of an investment. Yeah.
Well, and not that I would sell them, but one of the books that he sold me at the show, he said he only had 3 copies left, and he only sold me that one because I spent like $350 with him, and he said this, and what happened is when he had them printed, his printer ran out of paper for that particular issue when they were printing them, and so it was short printed. And it's like, and
Have I ever asked you what you thought of the Alec Baldwin version?
It's funny you say that. I watched it when it came out, and I was excited, and I thought it was so close to being great.
Yeah, it is close to being great. It really is. It's probably, I hate to criticize anybody for being funny that manages to be funny. And because that's the toughest thing to do. So, I mean, hey, congrats. I got a couple of laughs out of that. And, but maybe it was too funny.
Not appropriate for the shadow.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it was too funny. And I think that's the big shadow purists just really didn't like it. I'm thinking of like guys like Harlan Ellison and guys you could depend on being very knowledgeable of the character and all that.
Yeah, well, count me in that bunch because I'm getting all those books. And I've been reading. Like I said last weekend, I read the first pulp. I'm just gonna plow through them. I don't know if I told you this. I had a question for the guy. Did I tell you this? I asked the guy why he did them out of order. So
no, you didn't. I didn't.
I didn't tell you this. I asked him. I said, well, "How did you choose the order? Because they're not in the order of the pulps that they came out, and they're not really in any kind of particular order, like storyline or anything, because the stories kind of jumped around a little bit chronologically. And he said, he told me what he did is because he originally did 2 a book, he looked for, he went into it knowing, because I don't know if you've ever seen them, Ellis. I don't have one up here. It's downstairs. They're downstairs, but they have one of the covers on the front, and on the back it has the 2 covers, and then inside it has like interviews and stuff. There's a lot of additional material in them, and they have all the original illustrations. And so he said that there were certain people that he wanted to interview that he knew, and this is the guy that wrote the Shadow scrapbook, so he knew that people that he could contact stuff, but he wanted to interview him for this. But one is he only had a 3-year contract originally, so he wasn't sure he'd get to do all of them. He said the first 10 stories are kind of weak comparatively, so he knew if he put out like chronologically the first 10, he might lose his audience.
He'd tank his whole project, yeah.
Right. And also he said some of them he wanted to interview people, and it had to make sense in context with the book. For example, if he wanted to interview like the actress that played Margot Lane in the radio show, well, she didn't appear in the books till later. So it made no sense for him to put her in an early one when she wasn't even. So he tried to group them logically, and he tried to put a weaker story with a stronger story, so that that if you bought one, it wouldn't have 2 duds with it. So, and that's kind of what he did. And so I'm gonna read them in the order that they are. I have probably the first 30 solid, I think. So if it takes a little while to get the deal done, I'm still good.
Oh yeah.
But
I would think.
I'm not going to read a book a week probably. They came out every 2 weeks. So if I read one every 2, well, of course they came out over 20 years. So I don't know if I want to copy that pace, but I mean, I'm in no hurry. Yeah. I'll read them and just till I get them all read, and I figure I'll read them, and then one day I'll retire, and when I retire, then I'll have a lot more time to read them.
Yep. Hey Scott, we're at 1 hour and 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, are we done?
Well, unless you've got something you wanted really to get around to, give yourself a quick self-inventory. Is there something you were just itching to say tonight that you didn't get said?
Yes.
Okay.
I was gonna say to you, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Okay.
I told you, I don't know if I told you on air or if I told you off air, but if you needed something, you could certainly reach out to me. I know that you're a single man with no family that lives here, so
hey, don't dox me.
Okay. And your address is.
Okay.
No, I mean I'm glad seriously, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah.
You should go to the doctor more.
No, let's go to the doctor for the last trip. And Dan says, "Night, guys." Hey, night,
Dan.
Glad you came by.
Thanks for everything. Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, Scott, we're ending it.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, hitting the button. There we go.